Good day to all. I'm here to talk about families. Families that are unique, families that are special, your family, my family, families all over the world. Some families have a seal. They are part of a heraldry. They distinguish their family identity through these shapes, these icons, and these family essential values. And these families, through this identity, transmit the family values that they hold dear, that they find essential for the effectiveness of their family. And so from their ancestors, from their great-grandfather, from their grandfather, down to the parents, and down to you, dear young people. Families transmit a legacy, and they reach you through the love of your grandparents, of your parents, and then to you. Now we see families not as identity prisons, okay, but families that are dynamic, that transmit these family values for your competitiveness, dear young people. Because they know that you're going to face life, that you're going to face challenges. They prepare you for all these challenges. And as schools, we are here to provide the avenue, the atmosphere for parents to be able to transmit these family values. And so as Aristotle said, virtue is in the middle of two extremes. Parenting is also in the middle of two extremes. Sometimes you might transmit it too lax, or sometimes you might be too overbearing. So the middle is the best, which is deliberate parenting. We try to transmit values to our children in a deliberate way, in a way that they can assimilate, that they can understand, and that they can be inspired. There is a unique bond in the family, such that if you lose a family member, you will have to look for him. You will have to search him. I remember somebody telling me in his trips to China that he met a Korean who was looking for his father. The story goes that this Korean was a young boy during the Korean War, and due to the destruction, due to the violence, and all the commotion, he lost his parents. I think his last memory was that they were holding hands in the market until the bomb exploded and he lost his parents. Months passed. He was in the American soldiers' headquarters, and he was helping the soldiers with shining their shoes and all the different services, and he could not still find his parents. He could not find his relatives. So when the Americans were going back to the US, he decided to join them. And to cut a long story short, he became a top contractor in Hawaii, and one day he heard that his father was still alive and was in China. And so he made a trip to China and met my friend from Hong Kong to China, and he was looking for his father. Days after, he came back to Hong Kong, again in the same flight, met my friend, and told my friend that true enough, his father was there, but he went to a different location. So the adventure continues. We all long to seek lost family members. And of course, your parents are here now, but later on, they will go to the afterlife. And you will always seek them. And that is the family bond that is so unique that strengthens the family and strengthens you, dear young people. One time, a Spaniard, in order to apologize to his father, decided to put an ad in the newspaper. Of course, in Spanish, but in English it goes, "Dad, I am sorry. I want to apologize. I can't seem to meet you at the house, so please meet me at the plaza at such and such a date, at such and such a time, okay? Love, Paco." And so many people saw this ad, but of course, the father of Paco saw it, Paco wanting to apologize, and on such and such a date, and at that time, there were so many Pacos, and there were so many dads waiting for Paco to ask for his forgiveness. We've got to unite the family. We've got to keep the bond strong. And forgiving and apologizing is one very important link in the family. As I said, your parents are here, but later on they will be gone. They will move to the afterlife. And it is the voice of your parents that will guide you, that will help you to be excellent, to be enterprising, and courageous in all life's challenges. And I remember Mr. Jim Stenson, who came to Iloilo, an educator from the United States, telling us that his friend grew up during the Vietnam War. And the day he was going to Vietnam as a young boy, his mother told him, "Jimmy, promise me that you will come back alive." But Jimmy, alive, not just your body, but your body and soul alive. Because in Vietnam, you are going to experience so many temptations. There is violence, there is drugs, there is women, and so many other temptations. Jimmy, think of coming back alive, body and soul. And when he was in Vietnam, Jimmy was thinking of all the different things, all the temptations that were going around, okay? He was exposed to drugs, to violence, to women, to alcohol, but Jimmy always remembered the voice of his parents. And so with us, dear young people, the parents keep us strong, keep us always maintaining our family values. And these same family values will help us in being globally competitive. Matsona Di Layo said, "It is in the roots, not the branches, that a tree's greatest strength lies." Anton Lichone said, "A tree stands strong, not by its fruits or branches, but by the depth of its roots." It is the roots in family. We have to be rooted in the family, in our family values, to keep us strong. Ika nga ni Dr. Jose Rizal, ang hindi marunong lumingon sa kanyang pinanggalingan ay hindi makakarating sa kanyang paroroonan. We've got to look at our past. We've got to look at our ancestors. We've got to look at their legacy to us, the legacy of love of our grandparents, our parents, which we will transmit to the next generation. Think of the top corporations in the Philippines, many of them family corporations, families that have banded together with strong family values that make the corporations so profitable that they become top corporations in the Philippines. In the University of Milan, Guido Corbetta and Carlos Salvato made a study in the Family Firm Institute on how core family values shape family business and make them profitable. Of course, we're not just here for profit, but dear young people, remember that your core family values will keep you intact and stable and strong despite the difficulties that you will encounter. And so, as we remind parents to be deliberate in transmitting their family values, as we remind parents to think about the best way to transmit to you their wisdom, dear young people, I invite you to ask your parents, to ask your grandparents to tell you their story, to tell you their experience, to tell you what they have gone through, because all of this will strengthen you, will give you courage, and will bring you the identity that can help you go forward. And as I said, schools like Westbridge, we try to transmit the family values, we try to remind the parents to do deliberate parenting, but now, dear young people, you are mature, you are responsible, so you can carry on the task of assimilating these values and transmitting it to the next generation. Think about your vocation. Think about the experience and the wisdom of your parents, transmitting it to you. Think about your own talents and capabilities. You have a calling, you have a vocation to do a life project. And you will be happy, your life will have meaning if you're able to combine your talents and capabilities into the needs of this world. You may have a calling to be a doctor. You may have a calling to cure patients, to serve those that are sick. And by being a doctor, you will be happy, you will be fulfilled. You might be called as a lawyer. You will be called to defend the truth and to defend people who are being a source of injustice. Okay? Try to think about your capabilities, discuss this with your parents, and find your life project, find your vocation. You can be called as a teacher to inspire young people, to inspire families, and to be able to transmit again these family values to the next generation. Think about the book of Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He culled many of these habits from his experiences in the family. He said, be proactive. Okay? We have to be proactive families, families who have a vision where your children will be 10, 15 years from now. Okay? Stephen Covey said that we have to begin with the end in mind. We have to think of our vocation, our calling, and as early as now, prepare for it. Face all the challenges with strength and courage. Okay? And of course, we know that all of you have to imbibe all these family values. And I remember Jim Stenson insisting on parents, okay, that you have to transmit the 4 pillars of civilization to your children. Because parents, you may be well-mannered, but your children are barbarians, okay? And so when he came to Iloilo, he told us, okay, parents, you have to tell your children to say please, to say thank you, to say sorry, and I give you my word. The 4 pillars of civilization. Dear young people, do you say please? When you meet a person in the counter, when you're going to buy your food, when you're going to your university, and you meet people who are serving you, who are cleaning the place, okay? Do you say please? Not because they are lower than you, not because they're serving you, can you just boss yourself around. So when you go to your university, when you go to your jobs, befriend the policemen, befriend the security guards, befriend the gardeners, because although they serve you, you have to talk to them and say please. Say thank you. Dear young people, if you have not done so, say thank you to your parents. They have done so much for you, and now is a very good opportunity. Now that you're ready to face the world, you have to say thank you to them for what they have given you and for what they have trained you to do. They have transmitted their wisdom, their experience, and you will provide the energy. You will provide the youthful spirit to use their wisdom to be able to face life challenges. Say sorry. I told you about the story of Paco, not willing to say sorry in front of his father, waiting for him to meet him at that plaza, but be able to apologize. All of us make mistakes. Your parents will apologize, accept their apology. You will apologize, you will have to ask people to accept your apology. Say sorry because this is the feedback system in the world. When we commit mistakes, we say sorry. And of course, I give you my word. In this online world, sometimes the connections are not very good. We can be excused for missing meetings. But when you say your word, when you make an appointment, when you say yes to a deadline, you say your word and you live up to those commitments. So dear young people, lastly, I would like you to smile and smile more often. Be optimistic in the world. Of course, we have a pandemic, we have many challenges, but the world is full of opportunities. And if you smile, many of these opportunities will open up. I remember my father, he was a great sportsman, but he got sick. And arthritis started to hit all his joints, to the point that he could hardly walk. But my father was a very cheerful man. He was the life of the house. He would say jokes. He would always smile. It's like my father was always showing his best side. Dear young people, what is the story that you tell yourself when you are tired, when you are sick, When you are lonely, what is the story that you tell yourself? Do you want to give up? Think about all those athletes who have gone into accidents and can no longer be a sportsman. Do they just cry and they sulk in the corner? Okay. They have to tell themselves a different story. Think of the soldiers who defend the country and who come back injured. At first, they go out with a lot of physical power, but they come back disabled. They have to tell themselves a different story. They do not become sad, but they become optimistic because they say that with all their experience and wisdom, they can become a coach, they can become a trainer, they can become a teacher, able to inspire many young people. So always bring out your best side and never complain, because life is full of challenges, but if you smile, if you're courageous, if you're optimistic, you will be competitive. And I'd like to end by telling you a poem which I got from General Douglas MacArthur. He had this poem in his office. And this poem talks about the youth. But young people, please remember that your family is here to support you, and your family has been here to transmit the family values. And just like successful corporations in the Philippines, just like OFWs transmitting millions of dollars to the Philippines, it is these family values that make our society running and optimistic. So I leave you with this poem, Youth by Samuel Ullman, found in the office of General Douglas MacArthur. Youth is not a time of life. It is a state of mind. It is not a matter of rosy cheeks, red lips, and supple knees. It is a matter of the will, a quality of the imagination, a vigor of the emotions. It is the freshness of the deep springs of life. Youth means a temperamental predominance of courage over timidity of the appetite, for adventure over the love of ease. This often exists in a man of 60, more than a boy of 20. Nobody grows old merely by a number of years. We grow old by deserting our ideals. In the center of your heart and my heart, there is a wireless station. So long as it receives messages of beauty, hope, cheer, courage, and power from men and from the infinite, so long are you young. When the aerials are down and your spirit is covered with snows of cynicism and the ice of pessimism, then you are grown old, even at 20. But as long as your aerials are up to catch the waves of optimism, there is hope. You may die young at 80. Thank you very much.